Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm reviewing part 2 of The Underwater Menace, and I am watching the surviving episode. I watched the black and white version of the animation for part 1. I'm watching the actual existing episode of part 2, and I am really enjoying this story. Like, I'm having so much fun with it. I kept having to pause just because I was laughing. Like, I never had to pause for a bad reason, because I would be laughing about something and I just needed a second. It was so fun. Like, The Underwater Menace, I know, doesn't have a stellar reputation. Sometimes cited as the worst of Troughton's era, actually, along with the Space Pirates. It's ranked pretty low. But because I was aware of that going in, now I've never seen The Underwater Menace before, or listened to it, or anything, or read it. This is my first time experiencing The Underwater Menace. It's one of these 7 classic Doctor Who stories I've never seen before. Because I know its reputation. I know it's not essential Doctor Who. I went in with my bar, not up here, but more down here. It's enabled me to really have fun with this one. Much like Horns of Nimon, for example. I love Horns of Nimon, even if it's technically not great. But I really enjoyed the surviving footage. Right at the beginning, the camera work was really good. When it's focusing on Polly, the camera work does some good stuff. Polly's not in it much. We get a little bit with her. We get the stuff going on with Jamie and Ben in the mines, and they meet the other 2 miners. I think one's name is Sean. I forget the other one. They seem to have a really good camaraderie really quickly. I like the stuff going on with them, escaping through the tunnel, running into Polly later when they come out of the secret entrance to the little stone head or whatever it is. That's pretty cool. I enjoyed that. But the part of the episode that gets me is Troughton. Troughton is so good here. And I have to remind myself that this is the earliest surviving Troughton episode in his run, part 2 of Underwater Menace. And so he's probably still figuring out the character, but he's so good here. I don't understand why anyone would watch the animation over the surviving episode, because Troughton is such, I've talked about this before, he's such a physical actor. He does so much with his body language, so much with his facial expressions, especially those are key, that the animations are never going to fully match up, despite the fact I did like what some of the animation was doing in part 1 with his facial expressions. They were really trying. But there are just so many scenes here, because he's very much doing that, he's doing the Columbo thing, I call it. Where he's playing dumb. You know, he's kind of stroking Zaroff's ego, making him think he's harmless, not a threat, to put, everyone else ill at ease. He's just kind of the bumbling fool he's playing. But you see him stuffily when he takes the thing off the table, and then when he cuts the wires. And I love, oh my God, I love the bit when Zaroff is showing Damon the one area that's fine, and the Doctor pulls the thing out, and when all the lights go out, he turns around. Oops. That look on his face, like, did I do that? Oopsie. It's like when you catch a 5-year-old doing something, and it's like they know they did something bad, but they did it on accident, and they're like, he does it with that childlike expression, like a 5-year-old, where he's like, oops, I love that. And there's no way an animation's going to get that exactly right, the way Troughton just nails that. I love it so much. And then watching the Doctor interact with Zaroff as he finally starts to learn Zaroff's plan, and the bit when the Doctor's like, you're going to do that, but you can't do that because that'll cause that. And then if you do this, the crust of the world, and then the Earth will explode. And you start to learn, much like with the Doctor, the 4th Doctor and Davros in Genesis, where the Doctor prods to the point where he learns just how megalomaniac Davros is. When he learns just how far Davros is willing to go. It's kind of the same here, even though Zaroff, of course, is a bit of a kind of hammy, over-the-top character, let's be honest. But that's kind of the fun of the story. The Doctor keeps prodding till he realizes that Zaroff's kind of flipped his lid. Obviously, he knows Zaroff was once a really good scientist, a really intelligent man, but that, he's kind of gone upstairs. I love, my favorite part of the whole episode has to be when he's like, I just one more small question. Why do you want to blow up the world? The way Troughton asked the question And the look on his face when he does it. Just one more small question. Why do you want to blow up the world? I love this man so much. So much. I will never understand in ranking videos why Troughton is low. The only excuse I would accept at all from people is because so much of his era is missing and he only has 7 complete stories and 5 of them are from season 6. I will give a little leeway on that. But people are missing out. I think a lot of the people who vote in these polls just don't watch classic doctors. They're voting in polls when they haven't seen probably half the doctors they're voting on. Seriously, a lot of these major polls where people vote on doctors and a lot of the fans vote, I think a lot of the people voting are voting when they haven't even seen a lot of the classic doctors. So anytime I see Troughton low on a list, I'm like, have you watched the second Doctor? Because this is like a defining Doctor moment, just the way he does that. I love it. It's hilarious. But it's so the second Doctor. I love it. And the fact that Doctor doesn't like, yeah, you're nuts. He doesn't. He bides his time. He plays along. I love the bit when Damon comes in, and I much prefer the surviving footage version of Damon. I don't like the way he's drawn in the animation. He looks weird in the animation. But the actual version of him that was shot with the thick eyebrows, I like that. Damon has so much more character to me now. We didn't really get much of him in part 1, but he just seemed like such a flat character by the way he's drawn, whereas here he seems like an actual character. Like there's an actual character there. I like when Damon's like, oh, the girl, she escaped. And Troughton's just like, oh, that's just too bad for you. And he says it with like this just shit-eating grin that I absolutely love. It's so Troughton. Oh, I feel so bad for you, or whatever it is he says there. I loved it. I loved it. And then when he's talking to Damon a little later while filling up the vial, talking about experiments, he goes, yeah, you know, I can do those kind of things too. And he pours it out and creates the little smoke screen so he can escape. I love everything Troughton is doing in this episode so much, with his facial expressions, with his body language, with his just his acting, what he's saying and how he's saying it. It's easily one of the best actors to ever play the character. He is just firing on all cylinders in this for me, and it's definitely the highlight of the story. I do like the live action version of Zaroff better. The animation model for him is not bad. I mean, it's obviously Zaroff, but it looks off somehow. I mean, the hair's a little off, but something in the face is a little off too. It doesn't quite marry up with the surviving footage of him. It's not bad. It's not off-putting. And I was actually impressed how I transitioned from the animation to the live action without it being jarring. I figured it would have been jarring because I know they changed some stuff, but it was never jarring. It was never a big enough change to where it bothered me like it would, say, in Galaxy 4, like it does in Galaxy 4. Like the changes were, for the most part, small. A couple of them maybe a little more than small, but it was never anything that strained my willing suspension of disbelief. Like the whole time I was watching the surviving footage coming off the animated episode 1, my willing suspension of disbelief was like, I got you, fall into my arms, I got you. It had my back. Like the fish girl that's helping them, of course, is designed a little different in the animation than she is in the live action, but my mind had no problems adjusting to that. Like there was not anything here that was hard for me to adjust to. Even Damon looking very different didn't bother me. It's like I noted it, but it wasn't bothersome, if that makes sense. So I was actually pleased how easily I was able to transition from the animated part 1, which was done really well, as I mentioned in the part 1 review, to the surviving episode 2. I really enjoyed this from the story standpoint, watching the Doctor talking to kind of one of the priest guys about, no, you're right, he's nuts. I love the bit when they talk to kind of the ruler of Atlantis, when he's talking about Zaroff, and he's like, you know, there's nobody there, you know, knock, knock, there's nobody there. I love that. I don't know if the animation can quite get that right. Troughton does it perfectly. I'm having a lot of fun with this story. I mean, I'm halfway through it with 1 animated episode, 1 surviving episode, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if I want to watch it in color. I have a feeling it'll have a different impact on me in color. I'll probably do it just once, but I'm really enjoying it in black and white. I'm having a lot of fun with it because, again, I knew what kind of story it was before watching it. That is, you know, again, a little campy, a little silly, don't take it too seriously, not essential Doctor Who. And so I went into the story with that in mind, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Yes, it's a little silly, but I'm loving it. It's proof to me, at least thus far, just how good season 4 is. Season 4 of classic Doctor Who is one of my favorite Doctor Who seasons of all time. Season 4 of classic Doctor Who is better than series 4 of modern Doctor Who. I'll stand by that. I will die on that hill. Which is hugely impressive when you realize only 10 episodes of the classic season 4 still exist, that we know of anyway. And 3 of those episodes are 10th Planet. So Troughton only having 7 episodes out of the 35 episodes he's in season 4. It's a testament to how well that season was written and performed, that it ranks so highly to me. It's such a good season. So Underwater Menace Part 2, I thoroughly enjoyed the surviving episode. I had a lot of fun with it. And halfway through the story, I'm very much enjoying the story on first watch. So I want to know what you think of the surviving episode of episode 2. Well, that came out weird, didn't it? Part 2 of the Underwater Menace. Comment down below and let me know. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I also have a Patreon. If you like what I do and would like to support what I do, there is a link to that down in the description below. Several different tiers there to choose from. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review down there. A link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well. And YouTube memberships are available. Most importantly, thank you for watching.